You're the heart and soul of the hood. Your unique style. Your swag. You got this. Project Underhood. Welcome to Project Underhood, where we use movies, fashion, and art to break down social behavior, economic realities, and how you shape how you think and live in the hood. Today we'll be looking at a film, The Wood, that on the surface it feels like nostalgia, but underneath it's really a story about friendship, masculinity, and the social rules that shape how boys grow into men. Starring Omar Epps as Mike, Richard T. Jones as Slim, and Tay Diggs as Roland. The movie opens up like a time capsule. Flashback from childhood to adult. It's Roland's wedding day and he's late. He panics. This is what you call fear of transition. And I can understand this on a personal note because when I was pregnant with my first child, I didn't know what was up the road. But what I did know is that I wouldn't be able to get in my jeans, jump on my famous orange bike, and head out to East New York to the jams. I had a responsibility. So Roland feared this transition, leaving one version of himself behind. So when Mike and Slim found him, Roland was able to express how he felt about getting married. But at the same time, they held him accountable. And that's what real friends do. Hold you accountable even in your BS. Mike, Slim, and Roland, they bonded in high school because when Mike moved from North Carolina to the Wood, it was Roland and Slim that told him about the gangs and what the colors represented. Mike was learning how to move in the hood, but he also learned how to get the girls by dressing fly. Nice haircut, up-to-date clothes like Adidas and Guess. And when I was growing up, a lot of my clothes, well, not a lot, some of my clothes were hand-me-down and some were used. Not to say that we didn't get new clothes, because we did. I remember my great uncle Zimmy, he worked in a recycling factory on Junior Street. And he would call up my mother and say, Gladys, come over, the boss is not there. You would think I was going to Macy's. And we went over there and we picked out some clothes, brought them back home and washed them. And I remember my mother getting that box of, what was the name of it? Niagara starch with the blue box. And she would take some of it and she would put it in a bowl with some water and she would sprinkle the clothes, and then she would take that iron and iron out every wrinkle. You couldn't tell that those weren't new clothes, but they were new to me. But that's how we look rich even when we weren't. You see, Mike, Slim, and Roland, their only concern was getting the girls. It wasn't economic. But what they did worry about, like most teams, was peer pressure. One day, Roland and Slim dared Mike to go slap a girl on her butt for $1. And he did it. But what he didn't know was her brother was in the gang. And she told him, as she should. And he came up there and he beat Mike's behind. Mike learned street justice that day. Because you can't be out in these streets doing stuff like that and think you're not going to be served. But had she told her mother, he could have went to jail because that's sexual assault. Mike learned a very valuable lesson that day. at the end of the day, he did go back and tell her he was sorry because he knew that he was wrong. So sometimes looking back at childhood, you think you're just remembering good times, but you're really remembering lessons that shape who you are today. This is culture under the surface. This is Project Underhood.